Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading, and you are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. And I have my co-host with me here today, Chris Agelastos, who's going to join me as we talk about the war on cash. And I'm actually eh, I guess I'll say excited and interested to talk about this today, Chris. The uh, topic of digital currencies, cryptos, Bitcoins, et cetera, has been
Mhm.
obviously something that's kind of dominated news sources, news feeds for the last few years. And in fact, even our podcast earlier week, prior to this one, I should say, we discussed a little bit about that as well. But this is really, really kind of interesting to me because let me start with the title, and then we'll kind of go
Yeah.
from there. This out of Morningstar, it says this strategist and longstanding Bitcoin bull exits his position and switches allegiance to gold. Now, this is Jeffrey's strategist, Chris Wood. And
Mhm.
why I think I was kind of interested in this, Chris, is that, you know, personally speaking, we've talked about this before. I started at Swiss America here in 1992. And in the early 2000s ish, with 2010, 11, 12, maybe a little after that, we really started to hear a lot more about cryptos, a lot more about
Mhm.
Bitcoin. And there was a kind of a surge of interest there where, people were talking about, okay, this is just like gold. It's portable, it's private,
Mhm.
uh profitability, you can make money with it, it's safe. And literally, then when people would describe crypto, they would not figuratively, they would quite literally just use the same description someone would use to describe gold. Gold is
Mhm.
portable, gold is private, gold is safe. It's been very profitable, as we talked about. It's outperformed over the last 25 years. It's absolutely smoked the S&P 500. And now you have this strategist who's come out and said that he's switching his position from Bitcoin and now moving it towards gold. And the reason for this, incidentally, and I'll just read this personal paragraph,
Yeah.
paragraph two in the article for those listening. Quantum computing is going to be with us sooner than we thought. This is what he's saying. And its
Mhm.
potential for cracking the code underlying the whole concept of Bitcoin poses an existential, it's a very difficult word to say, threat, according to the concerns of one strategist. That
Yeah.
means the cryptocurrency's claim to be a secure and reliable store of value could be in jeopardy. And
Yep.
what's interesting about this, what this quantum computing does, is it basically allows for this is my word, but the evaporation of your Bitcoin. Like this, it is a
Yep.
problem where this quantum computing will come in, and what was once there will now be gone. Well, this for many people has forever been kind of a concern with Bitcoin because, yes, it's been explained how they data mine for it and so forth. But at the end of the day, if you have a problem with your account, there's no customer service. There's no
Right.
statement you have that you can present to somebody. You have no one to talk to. You're just literally left in the lurch. And
Yeah.
so this just speaks like specifically to what has, been a concern forever. Now, what Wood talks about in this article as well is that, part of the interest in these cryptos into Bitcoin, et cetera, is he references the dollar debasement trade, concern about dollar debasement trade since 2002. And because of that, he had been consistently arguing that, or advocating, we should say, for people weighting their portfolio with Bitcoin and, yes, some
Mhm.
gold and what have you. But now what he's realizing and what's changed is now he's getting out of Bitcoin altogether and into gold. So, like, I
Yeah.
guess, Chris, what I might ask you is like, and as you're talking to clients, first off, is it often that you talk to people who are presently involved in crypto or various digital currencies, and if so, is this a concern that they share in terms of like the potential there for loss?
Yeah, well, crypto does come up a lot in our conversations. Now, I'll say that most of the people that we talk to are investigating crypto, but they don't really feel comfortable with it. And I think it comes down to the fact that it is all digital. A lot of our clients are reaching out to us because they want something physical that they can trust. And gold has a track record of thousands of years, right, of being money essentially. And so that's something that crypto doesn't have. And I've always worried about crypto. When people say it's secure, this blockchain technology. I mean, years ago, I was thinking to myself, okay, sure, it's secure until it isn't, right? And that's what this quantum computing is showing us, that passcodes that 10 years ago would be considered completely secure and unbreakable, unhackable. Now with quantum computing, they estimate that within hours, or at the very least days of a computer working on someone's account, they could hack into the system, and then once they're in, obviously they could do what they want with your money, your Bitcoin.
Right.
And so it reminds me of, dating myself a little bit here, but when I was going through college, the internet was still a new thing, and our passwords back then. I mean, it could be like our birth date, right? Or a few digits, on a pin, or like the beginning of your email, and that was secure enough back then, right? And then it got to the point where we had to start adding numbers to our passwords to make them more complicated, and then capital letters and lowercase, and then symbols, right? And now we have to have these complex passwords, and even those passwords get accessed through data leaks, and we have to change those. And so technology is going to constantly be figuring out a way to hack passwords, and that's my ultimate problem with Bitcoin. I don't mind if somebody wants to have a little. I've got a little bit on the side, just because I wanted to see what it was like to actually go through the process and purchase it and whatnot. I still haven't been able to figure out how to actually use it for anything. But I don't think that security concern is ever going to go away. And I think that's the one thing that gold really has that crypto will never have, is that physical security of being a real asset and a track record. Like I said, of thousands of years, it's worked as money. And I really don't think that that's going to go away anytime soon. Certainly not in my lifetime.
Right. Now, and I don't know the answer to this question. I'm going to ask you if you do. But when it comes to the quantum computing, which let's just
Mhm.
call this a form of theft, which is what they say it is, is it is that limited to specifically accessing people's account by way of their passcodes, or do they also just have the ability to just pull from accounts without even like basically going through the wallets or the passcodes or what have you? Or do you know?
Well, no, I don't know with certainty, but I believe what they're doing, or what the quantum technology is going to be able to do, is going to be able to hack the actual crypto networks. So it
That's what
doesn't.
I kind of thought.
Yeah, it's even more advanced than just being able to hack my password. It's going to be able to get into, let's say it gets into Coinbase, which is just one of the exchanges that people can purchase crypto with. And if it gets in there, now, I mean, it's got the keys to the kingdom, right? I mean, once it's
Sure.
inside there, it can access everybody's accounts. But
Yep.
it's going to be even easier. Think about that. If quantum computing is going to be able to hack these major banking systems, or in this case, crypto systems, it's certainly going to be able to figure out my password pretty quick. Right? It's probably going to take it about 5 minutes to figure out mine, if even. So yeah, I think there's just always going to be that kind of technological vulnerability, and what is safe today is never guaranteed to be safe tomorrow when it comes to this digital world, because technology will continue to get better and smarter and figure out ways around whatever safeguards we put in place.
Sure. Well, and there's a look, this short little article here had all kinds of little nuggets in it, in
Hmm.
terms of just what I found interesting. And part of it here, and you hit on this a little bit, but it says that Wood's research led him to the conclusion that as much as 20 to 50% of all Bitcoins in circulation, especially the oldest ones, could be
Hmm.
vulnerable to theft and or compromise. Now,
Yeah,
when I
that's
read that,
huge.
here's what's curious to me. And I'd love to, I would literally love to like have a conversation with Wood because like if why would older ones be more vulnerable? Like to me, the data mining in terms of like mining these bitcoins, it was all the same thing. It was just going through the process and finding these bitcoins that existed out there. So I don't, and again, maybe this is something you do have the answer to. What would make an older one more vulnerable than a younger one?
Well, I was thinking when I read that, I was thinking that the technology has, crypto technology has improved since Bitcoin, for example, was first unveiled. So I'm assuming here that the technology for storing and locking the Bitcoins has gotten better and better over time. And so perhaps the older ones that were created under the original system might be more susceptible. I can't say that with certainty, but that's how I read it. And
So would you,
20 to
would,
50% of all the existing Bitcoins out there. I mean, that's insane.
would you think,
What if we said 20 to 50% of our bank accounts
oh, no,
are
you're
going
right.
to be hacked in the next 2 years?
You're absolutely right. But then, with that said, then do you think or know or believe that there's like tiered levels of bitcoins to kind of reference your point there, where like the old, like an older one is a different security platform than a newer one, and so they exist in different tiers. And if that is the case, and let's say I'm as a business or even as an individual or a consumer, I'm transacting in Bitcoin can I then why wouldn't I would request I want a newer version of a Bitcoin because why would I want to take on the vulnerability of having
Yeah.
if this is the case an older Bitcoin, or can you even make that differentiation?
Good question. You would hope that, if this is going to be a big problem, which it sounds like it is, you would hope they would be able to at least identify a way to be able to upgrade, right? Like I can upgrade my operating system to the latest system. Maybe they could do that with the older Bitcoins. But again, even the newest of Bitcoins with the latest technology, he's worried here that within the next 2 years, crypto computing is going to be able to hack those. So no matter what you do to try and safeguard, let's say, these older Bitcoins, eventually there's going to be technology to hack it. And part of the reason he's coming out here, you may have said this, but originally they were thinking this technology was like 10 plus years away, and now it's looking like 2 years away, which to me means the government probably already has access to it today. And when I say the government, not just the U.S. government, maybe other governments. And so, how secure really is our Bitcoin even today? Maybe from some of the bad actors, but I imagine governments could go in there and do a lot more than we realize already.
Well, and maybe people listening to this podcast or people out there, this was already familiar to them. But for me, again, when he made that differentiation between an older Bitcoin versus a newer Bitcoin, I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, 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 wait a minute. Like they're not even like the same Bitcoins, because
Right.
I've had some exposure and experience with transacting utilizing Bitcoin or buying different, form of crypto. And alls I know in my personal experience, the option was never presented to me if I wanted to buy an older version or a newer
Right.
version of
Right.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But clearly, according to like Chris Wood here, there is a difference in terms of stability. And I would suspect, like, again, short of people maybe already knowing all of this, that there was no this is an eye opener, if you will. This
Yeah.
is
It's the first
something
time I've
that
heard of it.
right. And I just guessed, and I would have to believe as well, or assume, and they say you shouldn't assume, but I'm going to in this case, that the probably what's expediting this process. Where Chris Wood thought it was going to be a 10-year thing. Now they're looking at 2 years. I would have to believe has something to do with AI and just how much
Yeah.
AI is exploding, and they're able to collapse timeframes on everything. So,
Yeah.
well, all right. For those of you who own Bitcoin out there, hopefully this was something that may have turned, may have been some form of enlightenment. If you already knew this, then my hat's off to you, because like we follow this, and they're just things like this. They pop up every once in a while. It's like, good
Right.
Lord, I didn't even know this was a thing. All
Hmm.
right. Well, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, please do so, as we'd love to talk to you more in the future. Chris, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And other than that, I guess have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. You as well. Take care.